How trees and landscaping secretly shorten your roof's life. That beautiful oak tree shading your house is secretly destroying your roof, and most New Jersey homeowners have no idea it's happening until they're facing a $20,000 replacement bill years ahead of schedule. Think of it like this. You wouldn't park your car under a leaky pipe every day, but many homeowners are essentially doing the same thing to their roof without realizing it. Here's what you need to know. I'm John Kabarakis, and I've replaced over 8,000 roofs across the Northeast in my 20-plus years in this business. I've seen beautiful homes with 15-year-old roofs that look like they're 25, and I've seen others where proper tree management helped roofs last well beyond their expected lifespan. The key thing to understand is that your landscaping and your roof aren't separate systems. They're interconnected parts of your home's protection strategy. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how overhanging branches, leaf litter, and even your shrubs are impacting your roof's lifespan, plus give you a simple 20-minute inspection process that could save you thousands in premature replacement costs. This is important because the decisions you make about your landscaping today will directly impact your roof replacement timeline 15 to 20 years from now. The hidden moisture trap. Let me explain something that most homeowners completely misunderstand about shade and their roof. You might think that a beautiful maple tree keeping your house cooler is helping your roof, but here's what's actually happening up there. Think of your roof like a piece of bread. When you leave bread in a dark, damp place, what happens? It develops mold and starts to deteriorate. Now imagine leaving that same bread out in the sun. It dries out and lasts much longer. Your roof works exactly the same way. When branches overhang your roof, they create what I call a moisture sandwich. Debris on top, trap moisture in the middle, and your shingles taking the damage underneath. Here's what you need to know about the mechanics of this damage. First, those overhanging branches are constantly dropping small debris, not just during fall, but year-round. These tiny twigs, seed pods, and leaves accumulate in places you can't even see from the ground. Second, the shade blocks the natural drying process that happens after rain or morning dew. In my experience, a shaded roof section can stay damp for 48 to 72 hours longer than sunny sections. Third, during wind events, and we get plenty of those in New Jersey, branches scrape against your shingles like sandpaper, gradually wearing away the protective granules. Moss and algae aren't just cosmetic problems. Moss actually lifts your shingles as it grows, creating tiny gaps where water can penetrate. I recently worked on a home in Morris County where the north-facing side, completely shaded by a massive oak, had moss growth so thick you could grab it by the handful. The homeowner thought it was just moss until I showed them the rotted decking underneath. The repair added $1,500 to what should have been a simple shingle replacement. To put it simply, if you have large trees within 20 feet of your roofline, you're likely dealing with accelerated aging of your roofing materials. Industry standards show that unmanaged tree coverage can shorten roof life by several years. That's potentially $15,000 or more in premature replacement costs. Here's why this matters. Every year of roof life that you lose is money directly out of your pocket. Not to mention the stress of dealing with unexpected leaks and emergency repairs. The solution isn't to cut down all your trees. It's about strategic management. Large shade trees should ideally be planted at least 20 feet from your roofline. But if you already have closer trees, you need a maintenance plan that includes regular trimming to maintain at minimum a 10-foot clearance from your roof surface. The gutter destruction cycle. Now here's something that drives me crazy when I say it. Homeowners who think cleaning gutters twice a year is enough when they have overhanging trees. Let me show you why this is such a costly mistake. I was at a home in Haddonfield last month where the homeowner religiously cleaned his gutters every spring and fall. He was proud of his maintenance routine, but when I got up on the roof, I found something that shocked him. Water stains running up under his shingles in multiple spots. The problem? The constant accumulation of small debris between his scheduled cleanings meant water was backing up regularly throughout the year, not just during heavy leaf season. Think of it like your kitchen sink. If you only cleaned your drain twice a year but used it every day, you'd have constant backups, right? Your gutters work the same way. When trees are overhead, this means that debris accumulation in gutters isn't just a seasonal problem. It's a constant battle that leads to what we call chronic water intrusion. Here's what actually happens up there. When debris accumulates, and I'm talking about the small stuff like seed pods, pine needles, and tiny twigs, it creates mini dams in your gutters. Water backs up and finds the path of least resistance, which is usually under your shingle edges. But here's the thing most people don't realize. It happens year-round with tree debris, not just in winter with ice. In other words, every time it rains, even a light shower, that backed up water is potentially working its way under your roof materials. Over time, this leads to rotted fascia boards, damaged roof decking, and eventually interior water damage. I've seen homes where this chronic water backup caused $10,000 in structural repairs that could have been prevented with proper gutter maintenance. What this tells us is that if you have trees within 20 feet of your home, regular gutter checks aren't excessive. They're essential. This is especially true for trees like maples, oaks, and pines that drop debris year-round. And by the way, if you're looking for a comprehensive assessment of how your trees and drainage system are affecting your roof, I offer detailed evaluations that include both tree impact and gutter analysis. You can find my contact information in the description below to schedule your professional assessment. The preventative solution here is threefold. First, install gutter guards designed for your specific tree type. Not all guards work for all debris. Second, trim branches back to maintain that 10-foot minimum clearance. Third, consider installing a gutter or eave heating system if you have persistent shade that prevents natural drying. The foundation-roof connection. This is important because most people never make this connection, but tree roots near your foundation can actually affect your roof's longevity. Let me explain exactly how this works. Think of your house like a table. If one leg starts to wobble, what happens to everything on top? The same principle applies to your home. When large tree roots grow near your foundation, and I'm talking about trees planted within 15 feet of your home, they can cause subtle settling or shifting in your foundation. You might not even notice from inside your house, but up on the roof, the effects become visible. Here's what you need to know about this hidden connection. Tree roots seek moisture, and they'll find it around your foundation where downspouts discharge and where the soil stays damp. As these roots grow, they can create voids in the soil or actually push against foundation walls. Even a quarter inch of foundation movement can translate to significant stress on your roof structure. I inspected a home in Morristown where a beautiful 40-year-old oak was planted just 12 feet from the house. The homeowner couldn't understand why his gutters kept pulling away from the fascia and why his roof had developed several mysterious leaks. When we investigated, we found that root-induced foundation movement had caused enough structural shift to compromise the roof's water-shedding ability. The flashing had separated in multiple places, gutters were pulling away, and shingle lines were visibly uneven. This means that your landscaping decisions from 20 years ago might be affecting your roof replacement timeline today. The structural stress from foundation movement can accelerate wear on roofing components, from shingles to flashing to gutters. What would normally be a 25-year roof might only last 18 to 20 years under these conditions. This isn't just about the trees you plant today. It's about understanding how existing trees might be impacting your home's structural integrity. If you have large trees close to your foundation, you need to monitor for signs of movement, doors that stick, cracks in interior walls, or uneven roof lines. These can be early warning signs that your foundation is under stress. The Smart Homeowners Tree Strategy. Now, let me share something that will save you thousands of dollars and years of headaches. You don't have to choose between beautiful landscaping and a long-lasting roof. You just need to be strategic about it. The good news is that there are trees that can actually enhance your property without destroying your roof. Think of it like choosing the right tool for the job. You wouldn't use a sledgehammer to hang a picture frame, and you shouldn't plant a massive oak tree 10 feet from your house. The key is selecting species that provide beauty and some shade without the aggressive growth patterns or excessive debris. Here's what you need to know about smart tree selection. The best trees for homes are what we call architectural companions, trees that complement your home without competing with it. Eastern redbud, for example, gives you beautiful spring flowers and moderate shade, but only grows to about 20 to 30 feet. Dogwood trees provide stunning seasonal interest without the massive canopy. Serviceberries offer year-round beauty with a manageable size. Japanese maple trees give you that elegant aesthetic appeal without the maintenance nightmares. Let me give you a real example. I worked with a homeowner in Mercer County who removed 3 massive silver maples that were destroying his roof and replaced them with a thoughtful landscape design using smaller ornamental trees. Not only did his roof problems disappear, but his property value actually increased because the new landscaping was more proportional to the home. This means that proper tree placement follows what I call the 20-foot rule for large trees, but you can plant smaller ornamental trees closer. even as close as 10 feet if they're true dwarf varieties. The key is understanding mature size and growth patterns. That cute little sapling from the nursery might become a 60-foot giant that costs you $30,000 in repairs down the line. Here's why this matters for your long-term home maintenance. When you coordinate your tree trimming with your roof maintenance schedule, you create a system that protects both your landscaping investment and your roofing investment. I always tell my clients to think of it as preventative medicine for your home. A little maintenance now prevents major surgery later. The 20-minute inspection walkthrough. Let me walk you through the exact inspection process I use to assess tree-related roof risks. This is something every homeowner should do at least twice a year, and it only takes a few minutes. Start by walking around your home's perimeter with a simple checklist. First, identify any branches within 10 feet of your roof line. These are your immediate concerns. Look up and really study the overhang. Can you see daylight between the branches and your roof? If not, that's problem number one. Next, look for the warning signs of moisture damage. Check for moss or algae growth on shaded sections of your roof. It usually starts as dark streaking or green patches. These aren't just cosmetic issues. They're indicators of chronic moisture problems. Then, examine your gutters from the ground. Are they sagging? Do you see plants growing out of them? These are signs of chronic debris accumulation. The key thing to understand is that documentation is critical. Take photos during each inspection, especially of problem areas. Date them and keep them in a folder. This helps you track changes over time and provides valuable information if you need a professional assessment. I've had clients show me photos from 2 years prior, and we could clearly see how quickly a problem had progressed. Red flags that require immediate attention include visible moss growth that's lifting shingles, gutters that overflow during moderate rain, branches actually touching your roof, or dark staining on shingles in shaded areas. If you see any of these, don't wait for your next scheduled maintenance. Address them now. This is important because early detection can mean the difference between a $500 tree trimming job and a $5,000 roof repair. Every problem you catch early is money saved and years added to your roof's life. Coordination strategy. Here's something most homeowners never think about until it's too late: how to coordinate roofing work with protecting your landscaping. Let me explain how to do this right. Think of it like scheduling surgery. You wouldn't want the surgeon to start without a plan for recovery, right? The same applies to roof replacement near mature landscaping. The key thing to understand is that proper coordination between your roofer and your landscaping can save both your plants and your budget. I recently completed a roof replacement in Westfield where the homeowner had invested $30,000 in professional landscaping over the years. They were terrified that we would destroy their garden. Here's what we did. First, we installed protective barriers around sensitive areas. Then, we used specialized equipment positioning to minimize ground impact. The result? Not a single plant was damaged, and the homeowner was thrilled. This means that timing is everything. If you're planning both roof replacement and landscape changes, always do the roof work first. It's much easier to protect established plants than to work around new landscaping. Plus, you can address any drainage or structural issues during the roof replacement that might affect your landscaping plans. Here's what you need to know about choosing the right contractor for this coordinated approach. When getting roofing quotes, specifically ask contractors about their plant protection procedures. A quality roofer will have systems in place, including protective coverings for plants, designated material staging areas away from landscaping, and careful debris management protocols. If they look confused when you ask about plant protection, that's a red flag. The long-term planning aspect is crucial here. Think of your roof and landscaping as integrated systems that need to work together for decades. Every decision about one affects the other. That beautiful weeping willow might seem perfect for that corner of your yard, but if it's going to overhang your roof in 10 years, you're setting yourself up for problems. Now you understand that your landscaping and roof aren't separate systems. They're integrated parts of your home. The trees you plant today, the maintenance you perform tomorrow, and the coordination between your roofing and landscaping decisions will determine whether your roof lasts 15 or 30 years. So, you've learned how to identify the warning signs during a simple 20-minute inspection. You know which trees work best in your homes, and you understand the hidden connection between your foundation and your roof's longevity. Most importantly, you now have the knowledge to make informed decisions that protect both your landscaping investment and your roofing investment.